Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Manjiri Narkani, Ayurvedic MD, registered holistic nutritionist, back today for another session on Nutrition Month. Yesterday, we have discussed different categories of fats, right? We've talked a little bit about would fat make you fat. So, if you haven't watched that video, please go to that video first and watch it. And you can find all my previous videos on my YouTube channel, Dr. Manjiri Narkani. So if you want to access any of my old content, you can either access them on YouTube, or you can always go to my Facebook page. And Facebook page again is Manjiri Ayurveda, so you can find all the videos right there, right? So today's topic is another interesting topic where we are going to discuss all about the problems or the risks associated with having very low fat diets or low fat diets, right? So, one thing that most people don't understand, or one thing that most people try when they're trying to lose weight, is really cut out the fat. And that happened because, there was this study that was done which found links of, cholesterol with heart disease. And then everybody started blaming the dietary fat for the cholesterol, right? But again, that is a huge myth that, cholesterol, there is multiple factors. And I'll probably do a video on cholesterol for the month of Nutrition Month, right? As soon as I'm done with this nutrient series. So, cholesterol is not the culprit, but in a bid to get rid of, the cholesterol, lower weight, they started blaming dietary fats for everything, right? And what happened was everything on the shelf started becoming non-fat. So if you look at your Greek yogurt, if you look at your any kind of foods, like milk was like 1%, or skim milk, fat-free yogurts, so fat-free cream cheese. So fat, like everything from the fat, all kinds of fatty foods became fat free foods, right? And there are healthy fats that are extremely essential for your health. So fat is not just a nutrient, it's an essential nutrient, right? It's one of the primary sources of energy, and it also helps with weight management. It also helps you absorb nutrients. Fat is essential for you to be able to absorb vitamins like A, D, E, and K, right? If you're looking at healthy skin, healthy hair, you require fat for that. It will help you regulate your body temperature. If you are not having enough fat, you will be constantly cold, right? Immune function, insulating internal organs, your hormones require you to have decent amounts of fats in the body, right? It has been seen that when women go really low on the fat, and I've seen the case with a lot of bodybuilders who have extremely low body fat, they will start losing the menstrual cycle. So start they have what's called amenorrhea, where they don't menstruate and their hormones start going for a toss if you have extremely low body fat, right? So that's what we're going to talk about, the risks associated with low fat diets. I want to say a quick hi to Bharat is here, Devika is here, Shobhik is here as well. If you're watching this live, you can say a quick hi. If you're watching this as a replay, you can always, post your questions in the replay as well. So we're talking about risks of a low fat diet. Now, the number one risk is poor brain function, right? Your brain is essentially made up of a large quantity of fat, and it requires fatty acids to optimally function, right? And when we talk about, cholesterol is a critical nutrient when it comes to your brain as well, because it's essential to the function of neurons as well as neurotransmitters, right? So having low cholesterol levels, having extremely low cholesterol is worse than having extremely high cholesterol levels, right? And there was this research performed, that showed that, like, when you lower naturally occurring total cholesterol levels, you're going to have poor performance, you're going to have poor cognitive health, you're not going to have enough focus, you're not going to have enough memory, concentration, word fluency, execution, right? So low fat diet is a huge factor that will impact your brain function. So if you are foggy in your brain, if you don't have a lot of stability in the brain, if you cannot focus, if you cannot concentrate, then you need good amounts of fat. And from an Ayurvedic perspective, what ends up happening is, you have to understand that your brain essentially has a lot of kapha, right? The good fats made, that's a kaphagenic, molecule. And vata is also like a brain, like all the neurons firing can be understood as vata activity, right? So to balance out the vata, to channelize the vata, you need good amounts of fat for your brain, right? So Devika, now again, everybody says everything, in the morning, eat this or eat that. So fat having first thing in the morning, again, fat requires digestibility, right? So I'm not a big fan of like Google advice or Instagram health advice where um somebody will hop on and be like, oh, do this to everyone. I don't believe in that, right? So it has to be customized. But having good amounts of fat with your diet all throughout the day will give you sustained um focus, concentration, right? So that's the one thing. And again, morning we have fats, like depending on different conditions, right? We have different grutas in Ayurveda, but again, they're medicated, right? So that's my one main thing. The second one is we talk about heart health, right? So often lowering the cholesterol helps with heart health is what we've been told, right? It has more to do with inflammation. But now you also have to understand that certain fats are good fats and they are anti-inflammatory in nature, right? So when there were studies done on the Mediterranean diet, so in the Mediterranean diet, they showed that, which has about 20 to 30% of fat as part of the cholesterol, what ends up happening is, your cardiovascular risk, diabetes, weight gain was significantly lower. So you need good quantity of fats, especially for your heart health as well. And when we talk about certain fats, whether we talk about phytosterols, which are plant based fats, and we talk about omega 3s, which we've talked about a little bit in yesterday's session. So omega 3s will lower your overall inflammation. It would lower your overall inflammation that can trigger heart related issues like atherosclerosis, and that's extremely important. So don't go too low fat if you have a heart condition. Always make sure you're taking good quality fat. That's not rancid, that's not trans fat, something that's really healthy for your heart, right? The third one is when we talk about hormones, right? Everybody's hormones in today's world are struggling to maintain a balance, right? So everybody, we live in what we call a vata deranged world where you're constantly running and running and running, and hormones require a little bit of calm and ease and slowing down, right, for hormonal function. So again, one of the main molecules that's fundamental in building your hormones is cholesterol, right? And cholesterol is also going to act, as an important part of different um, molecules and neurotransmitters, right? Including your vitamin D. Vitamin D, again, you require it for hormones. You also require it for your overall health. So, low fat diet again can increase the risk of infertility. It will increase hormonal issues in women, and even having your body fat drop extremely low, below 11% of your body weight, in women can lead to a lot of changes in the menstrual cycle and menstrual abnormalities, right? Again, in men, for testosterone support, you require good amounts of fat, right? So Devika saying, I love your skin. Yeah, I think I have good amounts of fat in my diet. I have a lot of ghee in my diet. And a part of my like everything's heredity to, so a lot of the compliments go to my mom because it's genetic, but I take care of my diet and that shows up on my skin. The moment I start eating poorly, again, it shows up on my skin. So I have to be extremely careful. Now, when we talk about weight gain and overeating, right, people cut out fats because they want to lose weight, but fats are things that will satiate you, right? So fats are also responsible for turning on, your fat burning. And if you don't have any fat in your diet, there is this hormone in the body called ghrelin, which makes you growl. You're constantly hungry, and it keeps you hungry, right? So if you have good amounts of fat, it will impact this ghrelin hormone, and you will find that you're more satiated, right? It will turn off those hunger signals. It will reduce your appetite as well when you have good amounts of dietary fat, right? And that's why if you are trying to lose weight, cutting out the sugars is the number one thing to do rather than cutting out fats. So that is something you have to pay attention to. That is something you have to pay attention to. And again, how much percentage of your diet, dietary calories come from fat, would depend on different personality types, would depend on different activity levels. So typically for a vata dominant person as well as a vata related condition, you will require more dietary fat. Pitta is always moderate, and kapha related conditions, or kapha dominant person, you're going to require minimal amounts of fat, right? Again, this is very subjective because not all conditions are the same, and when we do Ayurvedic consultations, we look at all different factors, right? Now again, when we talk about insulin, right? We talk about diabetes, you also require healthy fats, right? Which will help you control the insulin. Insulin is the fat storing hormone. So the excess sugar that you have in the body is going to enter your cells, and it's going to also be stored as fats. And different kinds of fat have been studied to have impact on your insulin action, right? So if you go for mono unsaturated fats or polyunsaturated fats, which we talked about yesterday, you will improve your insulin sensitivity, right? All your cellular membranes, the lining of the cellular membrane is made up of the fat. So the kind of fat that you eat is going to impact each and every cell of your body, right? So these are the five main factors. The sixth one I'm just going to add in, that's for your mood, right? Fat, having good amounts of fat is extremely essential for your mood. If you are someone who has been on a really low fat low carb diet, you will see that it has severely impacted your mood, right? So when you eat good amounts of good quality fats, that will optimize your mood. And especially when we talk about those omega 3 fats, right? Like walnuts are excellent for brain, excellent for focus concentration, they're also really good for your mood, right? So today we discussed the five main risks associated with having a really low fat diet or a low fat diet. The number one thing we talked about was your brain function. The second one we talked about was heart health. The third factor we talked about was hormones. We talked about weight gain. We talked about diabetes and insulin, and also a little bit about mood, right? So make sure you're having good quality fat in your diet and not cutting it out completely, right? I'm gonna say a quick hi to Asmita is here, MC Nutrition is here, Vipul is here as well. So thank you for watching this. I'll be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock with another session for the nutrition month. Till then, stay tuned. I'm also launching my spring reset very soon, right? So if you want information on my spring reset, I host a reset every single year. And I host a reset every single year for 1 week, and this will be in April 11th to 17th. And it's all food based reset, right? So it's not like a detox or a cleanse, it's like a whole foods eating plan. And there's a lot of group community support, so it's fantastic. So please join me. I'll be sharing the link soon. And if you're interested, just put a spring reset in the comments and I'll send you the link as well. So Mukta is asking me a very interesting question, right? So she's asking me what exactly is in those white containers behind me. So these are rotisserie chicken containers, but they don't contain any chicken. This is my warming mat, right? So it's mid March and we start with seeding. So all my plants, I've started with a lot of seeds. So I don't know if you can see this, right? So this is the best way. So this one has a bit of tomatoes and it also has some California wonder peppers. A lot of my tomato seeds are sitting in recycled. So this is like a recycled dome that I've created, recycled like mini greenhouse that I've created from rotisserie chicken packets. instead of throwing them away, and they have all the seeds, right? So the white boxes are seeds, and these are some things I've grown from seed. So I don't know if you can like see this here. So this is some cilantro, and then I have some green onions. Yeah, I'll probably do a video on growing your own food. I think that would be interesting. If you're interested in growing your own food, the next time I do some like seed work, I'll let you know, and I'll record those. And it's fantastic when you have your own seeds. I love it. I love plants, and I love growing plants and eating as fresh as I can. So that's what spring is all about, growing your own seeds and growing your own plants. So I'll probably do a video on it, Mukta. Yeah, for sure. I'll create a video on that. So again, thank you so much for watching this live, and happy Monday. It's a beautiful start to the week. So make sure you take care of your nutrition, and if you're watching this video, please implement at least one thing that you learn from my videos, because wisdom is only when it's implemented. Otherwise, it's just information, right? So you want knowledge to turn into power, and just don't load up yourself with a lot of nutrition, but start implementing the small changes that I'm talking about, which will help you get the healthiest ever, right? So thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day, and I'm off to my clinic now. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.